you the quantum mechanics?
Always try and hit that beat. Yes, we are the Quantum Mechanics, the paranormal podcast for the believers, the doubters, and everybody in between. Before we get into the good stuff, the other good stuff is saying thank you to Per, who became a Patreon this week. The first person from Norway, I think, in our Patreon community.
Oh, I really wish I knew some Norwegians say hi in Norwegian, but I don't.
No, I will listen. I do have a friend who lives in Norway, and I've always wanted to...
Norway.
I've always wanted to live there. It's a rather fantastic place. But like all of our other mechanics assistant level people, he gets access to our podcast a week early, advert free. Also, the extra scoop from Ben and Peter, you get that as an extra show. You also get access to our Discord and the community that is bubbling away in there, all for less than... I'm actually holding this week a purchased cup of coffee on the way over. And I can tell you from the receipt, this was 35 pence more than it costs to subscribe to us for a month. And it'll be gone in a minute, and we're there forever.
Oh, I love that. You're really milking this coffee analogy, aren't you?
Yeah, normally I would have a black coffee, but this morning I felt like a cappuccino with an extra shot.
Oh, you've got to have an extra shot, I feel.
Yeah, otherwise it's just a bit bland, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not used to this level of milkiness, but anyway, we don't need to talk about that.
No.
We need to get into the paranormal.
Yes, that's just what we call a cold opener. Which is a bit of a hint. So, Ben, we've discussed and used ghost hunting equipment on the podcast before.
Yes, we have.
Now, it's estimated that the market for paranormal gear could be worth over £200 million per year. Just over, what's that, about $270 million.
Wow.
Now, I did a very unscientific exercise to find out what paranormal enthusiasts were spending their money on. Now, I went to one of the...
It's got to be K2 meters, surely.
Well, we'll get to a list. I went to one of the many online stores that sell ghost hunting equipment, and I thought I'll go and see what their best sellers are, because they often show their bestseller lists. So the best sellers at the site I visited were digital EVP recorders, full spectrum camera lights.
Oh, yes.
You know, this is not surprising. Various EMF style meters.
Unbelievable.
Ghost box radio scanners and spirit boxes. Word generators. I'd already come across word generators before, but I guess it works like a spirit box.
Yeah, that's like the ghost tube
type
of things, yeah.
Then you've got cameras, lasers, and those touch-activated flashing balls that we use.
Oh, yeah, the cat ball.
Yeah, we used those when we went to Shepton Mallet, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the cheapest item on the list are the flashing balls. At the site I went to, you could get a pack of 3 of those for £15. I guess P&P is included, or not included, depending on the site. The most expensive item on the bestsellers list is what they called the SLS Cam Gold. It's described as an all-in paranormal device.
This is the thing that people used to repurpose the motion sensors of games consoles.
Oh, really?
And so it supposedly picks up patterns and maps stick people walking around.
Okay.
I think that's what the SLS is. I'm very, very sceptical of those. I mean, look, I'm not an expert, but that pattern matches on angles and things and tries to find the human body there, because they were originally... the chipset was designed so that you could like play virtual tennis and such in the living room. But yeah, I can understand why that's expensive.
Well, if you shell out for the SLM Cam Gold, it comes with an SLS camera, a word generator, an EMF meter, and a video camera, all in one.
Oh, maybe that isn't what I thought it was. It's just a kit of lots of different bits.
In one thing.
Nice.
I mean, with various,
how much is that then?
Well, with various accessories, that will set you back £530.
Whoa.
Yeah. So not cheap. Now, I'm not doing this as a comment on the equipment or what people want to spend their money on. What struck me when I searched this site and others was I struggled to find a piece of equipment that I would have thought would have been essential, at least in documenting proof of the paranormal. That is a temperature gauge or thermometer. Now, I'm not saying they don't exist on these sites, but they're certainly not in the bestsellers. Now, my first thought was, maybe people don't buy that bit of kit from specialist ghost hunting stores. But as Ruth Roper-Wild pointed out on one of our Halloween specials, you could say the same for an EMF meter, right? You can easily buy those from a hardware or DIY store rather than a specialist paranormal site. Yet EMF meters are some of the best sellers on ghost hunting stores. What I found strange about the lack of devices for measuring temperature on these sites is that reports of ghost encounters involving a sudden drop in temperature or a sudden feeling of cold are common, right? They're almost a cliche of the haunting.
And I have been to places where people have bought those laser thermometers.
Right.
And I know that it's a built-in feature in some of the REM pods, but they're expensive.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, temperature change, I mean, it's relatively easy to monitor and measure, right? And I don't know about you, but in my opinion, it's more reliable or, let's say, less problematic than using something like an EMF meter, which can easily be affected, as we know, by mobile phones, even magnetic fields given off by your body. And certainly, temperature seems more scientific than the randomness of a spirit box to me. I know we've talked about spirit boxes before, but... So this set me off on a bit of a journey, Ben, to research the correlation between hauntings and temperature changes. And I love it. I came across an academic paper about it.
Oh, wow.
It's from Brian Williams and Annalisa Ventola and Mike Wilson from the University of New Mexico. Good title to this paper, Ben. Temperature in Haunting Experiences, a Basic Primer for Paranormal Enthusiasts.
A basic primer. Oh.
I love it when they use the word primer. I'm never quite sure what it means.
It's kind of like the place from which other research can stem.
Right, okay, yeah.
But I just love the fact that they applied for some funding for this and got it.
For paranormal enthusiasts.
For paranormal enthusiasts, yeah. Okay.
Well, to quote the paper, among the various kinds of subjective perceptual experiences that one may report having in a reputedly haunted house, one of the most common may be sensing a noticeable change, typically a drop, in the ambient background temperature within the space of a room. These apparent cold spots may occur spontaneously and only be a fleeting feeling, or they may be persistent over time, seeming to be characteristic parts of a haunted locale and perhaps adding to its mystique. I don't know if perhaps is needed in that sense.
No.
Certainly.
Yeah.
In a related matter, some sightings of apparitions or ghosts have been accompanied by sudden feelings of cold. In his classic book, Apparitions, psychical researcher G.N.M. Tyrrell he noticed a fair degree of consistency across the reports of witnesses who had such feelings, with some stating that it was like, I love the way, actually I'm going to quote, these are quotes from people, I love the way that everybody gets quite flowery in their language in these things. So this is how some people describe it. It was like a jug of water poured over the nape of my neck. Or as if the blood was like ice in my veins.
Yeah, you see, I know you'll probably go here, but sometimes that is how you feel. That doesn't actually represent the temperature outside.
Yeah, we're going to go into that.
Okay.
So other ones, a cold shivering feeling came over me. Other witnesses gave statements suggesting that the cold sensation had emanated from the apparition itself. I like this one. As the figure passed, we distinctly felt a cold air. Her kiss was like a waft of cold air upon my cheek.
Her kiss? Well, are they describing a ghost?
Yeah, they're describing a ghost. I think I don't think literally her kiss. I think I mean the passing. Now,
like a sixth form kiss. Did he kiss her? Yeah, I mean, sure.
Well, the paper goes on. Are all such cold sensations during apparitional and haunting phenomena purely in the mind of the witness, or do some have an actual physical basis in the environment? To find out, some parapsychologists have taken temperature measurements during field investigations of haunted locations to see if they differ much from control locations where no ghosts or haunt phenomena have been reported. In a similar fashion, many amateur paranormal enthusiasts have taken readings with thermometers as part of their attempt to search for spirits in ostensibly haunted locations. Now, before we get deeper into the paper, I thought I would have a look at some well-known cases where drops in temperature, or cold spots as we'll call them, are a significant factor in the paranormal activity. I thought I'd start with one of the UK's most famous cases, Borley Rectory. Now, we've done a whole episode on Borley Rectory. I think you put it together, didn't you? So you can get the full story. We'll try and put a link to it in the show notes if you want to get the full thing. But as way of a summary, you can correct me if I get any of this wrong. The Borley Rectory case is one of the most famous and controversial British hauntings, beginning in the late 19th century and culminating in the Rectory's destruction by fire in 1939. Reports described a wide range of supernatural activity, often linked to a former monastery and to alleged spiritual disturbances. Witnesses, paranormal investigators, parish staff, and later researchers claim phenomena such as footsteps, poltergeists, apparitions, and mysterious voices. Now, a notable element across many accounts was the frequent mention of sudden dramatic temperature drops, described as cold spots, that accompanied or preceding a seeming manifestation or presence in various rooms of the house. So investigators and the occupants reportedly experienced these cold air and noticeable chills in the room, such as the library or corridor at moments of activity. They described them as cold spots that contrasted with the surrounding warmth of the location. Now, another recurring pattern involved unexplained chilly drafts, sudden temperature decreases coincided with sightings or disturbances, sometimes described as entering a room already warmed by heating, then dropping sharply as activity commenced. I delved into Harry Price's famous book about Borley Rectory because I thought I'd see what he, thought about and did around these temperature drops. The room that became known as the Blue Room seemed to be the most affected by these cold spots. Harry Price writes, Care Pierce was again at the Rectory from August 23rd to 28th. No phenomena were noted and the house appeared even quieter than usual. But one day the Reverend A.C. Henning called at the Rectory accompanied by his wife and a Miss Reed. The following is from their official report. While inspecting the house with the Reverend and Mrs. Henning and their friend Miss Reed, the latter had a curious experience outside the Blue Room. She had a feeling of terror, a sensation of pins and needles all over, and felt very cold, although it was a warm evening. We felt her hands, which were indeed icy. On leaving that part of the house, she became more at ease, but when we returned about 15 minutes later, the same thing happened again. I would add that no one else had any similar feeling. Miss Reed is a very level-headed person and does not in any way pretend to be psychic. This is the second person to be affected by the cold spot outside of the Blue Room. Now, Harry Price detailed multiple examples of cold spots and sudden temperature drops at Borley Rectory, and it was experienced by different people while investigating the activity there. And he did try, Ben, to add a level of scientific investigation into this phenomena. He conducted readings relating to temperature in the house in a number of rooms using a type of thermometer. Price writes, One day, early in July, I did install a delicate transmitting thermograph, which was in position for 24 hours. So, good on him. He was thinking about temperature, right? And he took this monitoring of temperature quite seriously, Ben. He would move this thermograph device from room to room, monitoring temperatures over extended periods. Should we get on to the results?
Yeah.
I have to say, Ben, to my mind, the results are a little bit disappointing. Relating to the Blue Room, Price describes, I quote, "It is interesting to note that the temperature of the dining room measured was almost 48 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's about 9 degrees centigrade, during practically the whole of this period. It did not vary 1.5 degrees throughout the 24 hours, which proves A, that although it was a normal warm July day outside, the house itself was cold, and B, that very slight variations of temperature occur in the house." So my interpretation, Ben, of Price's writing, and I know he doesn't specifically say that, but I read it as that he's not necessarily suggesting the coldness of the house is something paranormal when he writes the house itself was cold. You could take that as him just saying literally it's just a cold house, but I guess 9 degrees centigrade is pretty cold.
Yeah.
In reading more, I wondered if Harry Price displayed what is known as unconscious bias, so making the facts suit the narrative.
And he has been accused of that in the past.
Yeah, because he links this consistent readings of the temperatures in different rooms and the connection with people experiencing cold spots, that he somehow is implying the fact that the thermometer did not show any variation in temperature while people experienced these cold spots somehow proved that they were genuine paranormal experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, the lack of recordable temperature change adding credibility is kind of what he's saying. He doesn't say this explicitly, but I feel it's implied. I'll read a couple of quotes, Ben, from the book and see if you agree with me of what I thought about it. So he says, though Mr. Kerr Pierce experienced no abnormal feelings of cold in the Rectory, his cousin, Mr. Rupert Haig, while resting in the base room, was awakened by an icy cold draught playing on his face. All doors and windows were closed, a big fire was burning, and the temperature of the room measured 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So he's kind of going, it was a warm room, he felt a cold spot, must be paranormal, right? Mm-hmm. There's another one. Mr. Glanville and Alan Cuthbert paid another visit to the Rectory on March the 12th, 1938. Mr. M. Savage and his friend, Mr. Bridgewater, were also present. After a thorough examination of the house, they began their usual routine patrols. At 10 o'clock in the evening, they found some fresh, dark, sticky stains of the consistency of glycerin on the floor of the chapel. They were not there during the previous patrols. They scraped up some of the fluid but could not obtain sufficient for the purpose of analysis. At 1:45 a.m, they all heard a sharp, hard sound sufficiently loud to make us jump. It came from the top middle shelf of the bookcase in the base room. The thermometer on the bookcase showed that the temperature had varied only 1 degree Fahrenheit during the previous 10 hours, so it could not have been due to any crepitation of the wood. Immediately preceding the sound from the bookcase, we heard another noise from the blue room above, as if a chair leg had been scraped along the floor. So yeah, he's linking this the fact there's not much variation in temperatures, going, when people are feeling these cold spots, it must be paranormal, right?
Right, yeah.
Now, I think you alluded to this a little bit earlier. So a sceptical approach to the fact that people are feeling cold spots in a room where the temperature just seems consistent could be fear. So fear, shock and extreme stress can cause a temporary drop in peripheral body temperature, so skins, hands and feet. So your hands could feel cold if you had a scare. And in some cases, it can decrease your whole core body temperature. So, I mean, normally the fight or flight response raises body temperature, but the initial reaction to shock or intense anxiety often results in a feeling of being frozen or getting the chills.
Right, yes, yes. Yeah, because, I mean, that is... You can start shaking as well, which has nothing to do with trying to warm up. It's just a fear response and an overload of adrenaline.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting as well that he's sort of still pointing out that there is what he would say paranormal phenomena happening around him as well, which I don't know. That almost seems inserted to prove a point that he was, it's what you said, he's sort of making it fit a narrative.
Yeah, I think so. It's like, I mean, no, he's not explicitly saying it, but it seems implied, there was no temperature drop, so this person must have experienced something paranormal.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I appreciate the fact that Harry Price did install equipment to monitor temperature changes, or lack of, at Borley Rectory. The implication that the absence of recorded temperature change proves the cold sensations people were feeling were paranormal in nature, I mean, it just doesn't quite hold up for me, really.
No.
When it comes to temperature drops at haunted locations, one of the most famous in America is the Stanley Hotel in Colorado.
Right, yeah. I mean, this is the Shining Hotel, right?
It is indeed, yeah. This location is a great example of how facts and fiction can become intertwined, I think. It's part of the inspiration for Stephen King's iconic horror novel, The Shining. During Halloween in 1974, Stephen King stayed in room 217 at the hotel, which had a reputation as a haunted room. So that inspired his writing for the book. Let's focus on the backstory of the hotel itself rather than the Stephen King fiction. So it was built in 1909 by Freeland Oscar Stanley, and it was intended to provide a luxurious escape for wealthy guests. However, its past is marred by stories of tragedy and loss. One of the most notable hauntings is that of former housekeeper Elizabeth Wilson, who is said to have died after a gas leak explosion in room 217. So guests have reported seeing her spirit, often described as a kind of benevolent presence, moving about the room. I love this bit, and even tucking guests into their bed during the night. That would freak you out, wouldn't it?
Ghosts seem to have an unnatural draw to people in bed.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? As time's passed, the Stanley Hotel has become a nexus for inexplicable phenomena and ghostly encounters. Staff and visitors frequently report strange occurrences, such as inexplicable cold spots, objects moving on their own, and mysterious laughter echoing through the halls. There's the spirits of children playing that have also been spotted, and there are believed to be spirits of guests who stayed in the hotel in its early years. Didn't realise how much of it does tie in actually with The Shining when I was digging into it. The Grand Ballroom is another hotspot for paranormal activity, with numerous accounts of shadowy figures and disembodied voices. Now, the movie version of The Shining was not filmed at the hotel, but it has become a tourist hotspot for fans of the paranormal. This amazed me, Ben. More people go on ghost tours there than stay at the hotel. At peak times, it can attract over 500 ghost hunters a day.
Good Lord.
That's incredible, isn't it?
I mean, that makes something of a mockery of it in a way.
It does, doesn't it? You know, and I can't believe the ghosts are going, oh, okay, here comes the next tour, get yourself ready.
Crazy amount.
I mean, how many would you have to do a day to kind of... Yeah, it must be all day, every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I can sort of see why, but I don't know. I think that it becomes a theme park rather than a serious investigation, surely.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they're making more money out of that than as a hotel.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it's become, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've got a really interesting side fact, though, while I was researching, that it was not only Stephen King that had a spooky feeling about room 217 at the Stanley Hotel. See if you knew this. Hollywood actor Jim Carrey stayed in the room in 1994 while filming the hit comedy Dumb and Dumber.
I didn't know this.
According to US Ghost Adventures, the young actor quickly found out that the room more than lived up to its haunting reputation. Carrey was seen running out of the room after only 3 hours. He checked out of the hotel, looking visibly shaken, and refused to discuss what had happened. And apparently he's never spoke about it since.
Really?
Yeah.
I love those stories where people go, I can't tell you what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been anything.
Could have been, couldn't it? But it's good folklore.
Yeah, that's a good... I'm going to have a little look over YouTube, see if anyone's asked him about this on a talk show or something.
Because you think somebody would, wouldn't you?
Definitely.
Yeah, well, I did find it in a note. You're always dubious about those facts, aren't you? Because they could come from one source and then just spread around the internet. But I thought it was interesting.
Well, they're usually released when that talent, so that it's something for them to talk about on the press junkets.
Yeah. Well, they're, not particularly spooky films, so it's weird, isn't it? Well, let's go back to the cold spots at the Stanley Hotel. So visitors have reported chilling experiences related to sudden cold spots and unexpected temperature changes, often accompanied by a sense of unease. Many guests describe feeling a remarkable drop in temperatures in certain areas of the hotel, particularly in the corridors and staircases near room 217. Witnesses have recounted walking through a hallway that was noticeably warmer only to step into an icy chill that sent shivers down their spines, often feeling that a cold presence was near. In one account, a group of ghost tour participants mentioned that they gathered in the hotel's famous ballroom. The temperature dropped suddenly despite a warm evening outside. I like this description. Many individuals reported feeling a cold breeze swirling around them, even though there were no open windows or draft sources. That swirling, I think, is a really interesting phrase. Some guests have described the sensation of cold fingers brushing against their skin, often accompanied by audible sounds of laughter or whispers, further heightening the eerie atmosphere. That would freak you out, wouldn't it?
It would.
Now, Ben, again, we come to this idea that this could be psychological phenomena rather than paranormal. You know, people know the ballroom's supposed to be where it's all going on and around room 217, so you can see why people might have a little reaction. But some ghost hunters at the locations have reported logging these temperature drops on thermometers. Several paranormal investigators and visitors at the Stanley have reported capturing temperature drops using various equipment, including digital thermometers and infrared thermometers. During organised ghost tours and investigations, teams have recorded sudden drops in temperature, often in the locations known for their paranormal activity, such as room 217 and the ballroom. For example, during one investigation, a team used an infrared thermometer and noticed an abrupt decrease in temperature from a normal reading of approximately 70 Fahrenheit to around 56 degrees Fahrenheit. This happened in a matter of seconds in the area near room 217. So that's a drop of about 8 degrees C.
That is a lot.
Yeah, now it's consistent with personal experience of guests who reported feeling cold spots at that time. So there is a connection there. Some ghost hunters have documented these findings in their reports, correlating the temperature changes with paranormal phenomena, such as the presence of unexplained sounds or visual occurrences. So in a way, that's more interesting to me, Ben. It's very unlikely that such a large temperature drop would occur inside a building naturally, right? Of nearly 10 degrees C.
Yeah, so...
seconds.
In seconds, yeah, because... We all know. So this happens in my house. We've got a wood burner in one of the rooms, and then that goes onto a room where there's big glass doors. If you open one of those big glass doors and it's a really hot room, you will feel that on a cold day. You will feel that sort of chilling the room in maybe 15, 20 seconds, but it's clear the door is open. And when you shut the door, it takes a small amount of time for the heat to build back up again. If there aren't any windows opening and everything else seems to be consistent, then that is unusual. The only thing I would say with a skeptical hat is a modernly equipped, that's not quite the right word, it's been revamped, so it'll have air conditioning. So some of the so I do know air conditioning can sometimes vent itself if it's chilling in other parts of the building, say the kitchens, and it's overproduced cool air. It can dump some of that perhaps into the room. That might be an explanation. But if everyone is sure that it hasn't happened, then that is mysterious.
It's a good point you made about, your fire. I mean, we have a similar thing in our house where I'll be sitting in the lounge, and after about 5 or 10 minutes, because sometimes we leave the door open to let the dog out the back, I'll know if it's been open pretty quickly, because it's just like, there's
you can feel it around your feet as well, can't you?
Yeah. And I think you're right. A skeptic would say that these temperature changes have been reported by ghost hunters. Most of them amateur ghost hunters. I guess a skeptic would say they're not scientists, and it's not under controlled conditions. No. Which leads me back to the academic paper I mentioned earlier, Ben, which gives some tips for paranormal investigators on trying to measure and capture temperature drops. But before we get onto that, let's start with some of the cases the authors of the paper feel are more interesting from a scientific perspective. So they write, a glance at the research literature suggests that parapsychologists have gotten a mixed bag of results when taking temperature measurements during field investigations of haunted sites. An initial effort to collect detailed measurements was made in the mid-1968 by the Doncaster Group for Psychical Studies as part of an investigation of a haunted house in the mining village of Askern in South Yorkshire, England. Have you heard of that haunting? I don't think I have.
No.
Residents and visitors of the home reported hearing metallic clicks and other unusual sounds, seeing spectral human figures, and feeling sensations of cold in the living room and bedroom of the home. The cold feeling would even sometimes occur in the living room while it was being warmed by an active fireplace. To objectively explore the cold feelings, the Doncaster Group set up an array of thermometers in the living room and bedroom, which were monitored during 7 separate overnight surveillance sessions. Ben, what's interesting is the group also set up thermometers in a house next door as a kind of control house. So the house next door wasn't haunted. So they were trying to almost have a kind of control side to the experiment,
I see.
which I quite like. Yeah, the results were a little bit inconclusive, Ben.
Oh.
They did find drops in temperature, this is quite interesting, at certain times of the day, notably between 12:30 and 1 a.m., which seemed to coincide with reports of investigators experiencing paranormal activity. It's a very short window.
But you see, that to me, if it's in that short time window, that says to me there's a device, like the central heating goes off or goes on, or the air conditioning goes off or goes on.
1960s.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, I guess you could. There would have been central heating at that point, wouldn't there?
Yeah, I suppose so.
I mean, they say that one of these instances of sudden temperature drop was recorded at about 10 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's about a drop of 5 degrees centigrade. It's not a lot, though, is it? That.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, 5 degrees, you'd feel it.
You'd feel it, yeah. In terms of the non-haunted control house next door, they worked out it was generally warmer than the haunted house. I mean, what does that tell you? That's my only problem with this kind of control house that's not haunted. Well, it's a different house. It's in a different location.
Yeah.
What can you compare? Oh, it was warmer than the haunted house. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know anything about the insulation, the heating system, the cooling system, animals moving around.
It's like this house we're in now. This needs a lot of work done, so it's a pretty cold house. If I went next door, it would be significantly warmer than this house. That doesn't mean this one's haunted and the other one isn't, does it?
No, it's just the way it's constructed.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, surely when they were doing this and they were trying to be scientific about it, surely somebody did note the aspects of the house that might influence the cooling or heating properties of it, surely.
Yeah, there wasn't any detail in the paper about that, but you would think if the papers picked it out as a more scientific approach, then that would be the case.
I mean, it's interesting though that it happens at the same time and other people have reported things at that time. I think that is okay.
But again, could that be kind of cause and effect? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I mean? You feel a drop in temperature and go, oh my God, here comes the paranormal bit, rather than the other way around. Yeah,
very, very possibly. And I think you have to think about the unknown unknowns in that. Like if you were to, so we've got on our hallway, you might say, oh, the lights always come on at 1 o'clock on our hallway. And if you didn't know any different, you would maybe try and attribute that after you'd ruled out electrical things to some kind of paranormal. As it turns out, we've got those sensitive lights on sensors, so it turns on when people go to the toilet. And my dog likes to go and get a drink of water at 1 o'clock.
Right.
So the lights coming on will sometimes wake me and my partner. And we took us a while to get used to it. But the point is, it's an electrical thing that is being controlled by a dog walking down the corridor. If you hadn't said to anybody about my house and they didn't know how it was wired up, they might say, well, that's weird. There's something happens in your house and when all the lights go on at 1 in the morning. At the same time, yes. And it's actually correlated with the thirst of my dog. Yeah. So there are these things which, my point is, I mean, that's a little bit glib, but my point is you really do have to look for all the other aspects that could influence this. And again, it sounds obvious, but if it's for a scientific paper and they've got some funding for it, they're not going to want to walk away and go, oh, it was absolutely nothing. I mean, I know that probably, most scientists would say, well, I'm not going to lie. Sure, you're not going to lie, but it's better to have something that happened than something that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Well, if we bring the research more up to date, in 2001, researchers from the University of Herefordshire in England and the University of Edinburgh in Scotland conducted a field investigation. It was led, Ben, by someone we've talked about on the podcast before. psychologist Richard Wiseman.
Oh, yes. He's kind of head skeptic.
Yeah, he led a team looking into the reputation of the haunted Southbridge Vaults in Edinburgh. Quite a well-known location. It's a location runs ghost tours, with many reported seeing apparitions, hearing footsteps and sensing an unseen presence. So the team from the universities conducted many tests, including monitoring temperature. The results... So, although nearly half of the people, 44%, visiting the vaults during the study had reported a haunted-related experience, some of which included sensing a change in temperature, the temperature level and the speed of the air inside the vault were not significantly related to the amount of experiences people had. High, though, 44%, which, again, it actually stuck out for me of this psychological element of it. You're on a ghost tour. You want to see a ghost, right?
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't be there if you didn't have some element of belief, I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah. I mean, they concluded in the paper that things were related more to the height of the structure, the amount of lighting in the vaults. So they basically said, look, temperature doesn't seem to be a factor at that location. Other stuff might be, but not temperature. Perhaps this one I loved. Perhaps the most scientific research conducted related to paranormal cold spots happened in 1996. Why most scientific, you ask, Ben?
Why is most scientific?
It was conducted in a lab.
Oh, a Labrador.
To explore the role that temperature might play in ghost experiences, Dean Radin and Janine Redman monitored the temperature, among other variables, inside a custom-built, this sounds great, psychomantium in their laboratory.
A psychomantium?
Do you want to know what one of those is?
Yes.
It's a dark chamber modelled after an ancient Greek oracle that is used as a way to artificially induce apparitional experiences through the age-old technique of scrying.
Oh, right. Okay, so it does something to your brainwave so you see a ghost.
Yes, so
I see.
You basically, the scrying thing, you're gazing into a mirror reflected surface. I think it was a mirror they used in the study. Inside lab environment where they could measure temperature and all kinds of stuff. Sounds promising, though. A lab setting, trying to initiate an apparition via scrying and then measuring temperature. I'm up for that.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah. Oh, Rain always does good experiments.
As volunteers sat inside the psychomantium chamber and attempted to have an apparitional experience, Radin and Redman monitored certain aspects of their physiology, their heart rate, skin resistance and blood pulse volumes, to see if those might be associated with change in the environment during an apparitional experiences. The results of the study indicated that shifts in the volunteers' physiology were most often associated with changes in air temperature inside the psychomantium. So they made a direct connection between sensing something paranormal, an apparition, and a drop in temperature.
Interesting.
Sounds good, right?
I'm trying to imagine what the explanation might be offered for this.
There is a bit of a problem.
Okay.
That has been pointed out.
Okay.
While preparing for the psychomantium session, 3 people, the experimenter, the session facilitator, and the volunteer who was going to have the experience,
had an ice cream?
They were all in the chamber at the same time, which may have brought about an increase in air temperature due to their body heat.
Oh, of course. And then it cools when there's only one of them.
The temperature would have begun to drop soon after the volunteer was left alone in the chamber, and this could have coincided with shifts in the volunteer's physiology as they began to relax.
Oh, come on. That's really sloppy experimental design.
So some of the temperature changes seen in the study look like they may have had natural causes. Now, they did say at the end of their paper that their researchers plan to try it again, modifying their procedures. So it'll be interesting to see what they did. You know what? I came across...
I mean, that was 30 years ago. If they don't had a go yet.
I had a little search, but they seem to have gone off on other things. So I was interested by them because they've done quite a lot on remote viewing. They seem to be quite obsessed with remote viewing. So we may come back to some of their work. But that feels like a bit of a schoolboy error. Hey, 2 of us have left the room and the temperature's gone down. It's got to be paranormal.
This is the spookiest thing I've ever seen. Wait till I show you a fan eater. Wait, oh man, that is so disappointing.
Yeah.
And presumably the change in heat was so small it could have easily been attributed to body heat.
Yeah, and the person relaxing as well.
Dang.
Yeah. So Ben, it's often the case, isn't it, when we delve into these subjects on the podcast, with more questions than answers and contradicting theories. There's the Harry Price example, that a lack of recorded temperature drop could prove that cold spots are really paranormal. Then there's the other studies that do somewhat suggest there could be a link between recorded drops in temperature connected with the house or paranormal activity. I also found another intriguing theory that could suggest that these cold spots and feelings of change in temperature could be connected to what lies beneath a haunted house.
You're talking like rivers and...
Yeah, it's not the cliche of a burial ground.
It was built
Yeah.
on an Indian burial ground.
It's something called the Peltier effect. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I have not.
Well, put simply, the theory is that below ground there are several layers of minerals and rocks. If these layers of rocks contain silicates, they may be the culprit for cold spots in certain houses and certain locations. This is, very simplified, but rock movement and other factors can create an electric reaction and a magnetic field that can cause sudden changes in temperature above the ground.
I didn't realise that.
No,
okay.
I didn't know that. In fact, this effect has been recorded in connection with a haunted house, which I thought was fascinating.
Tell me more about that.
Well, so parapsychologist William Roll of the University of West Georgia made the connection between strange noises and cold spots reported at the haunted White Ranch in Texas. They found that strange noises and cold spots coincided with underground seismic activity that caused electrical and magnetic currents. So they made a direct connection with... So I guess the noises were the noises of the seismic... Small, not big seismic activity, small seismic activity making the house shift or whatever, creating noises. But the effects, the magnetic effects and the electrical effect can cause sudden drops in temperature in either the whole house or in certain areas, which I thought was fascinating.
That is very interesting.
Really interesting to know. It's one of those things which is probably going to be impossible to go, but to find out. But it would be great where there have been reports of haunted activity, especially where it's noise-based and temperature-based, what lies beneath those houses in terms of, rock structure and silicates and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, fascinating, I thought that.
That is, I like that, because the essence of this really, that people, when they're looking for these temperature differences, they're working towards trying to prove that hypothesis that perhaps ghosts use, or spirits use, the energy in the heat to manifest.
Yeah.
And it sort of makes sense. I mean, that's the same reason why, they say batteries lose charge and, devices brought into those haunted environments lose charge. And it sort of makes sense on a, first glance level. And, it might actually be true. I'm not poo-pooing it. But it just makes me wonder why you don't get more hauntings during a hot summer. Something like that might make more sense.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Well, before we go, I thought for you paranormal enthusiasts out there, I'd return to the paper.
And over here.
And over there. And we'd end with some tips if you want to take more scientific approach to cold spots when you visit a haunted location.
Oh, yeah. We need a tip bed. Hang on.
Oh, nice. So, number 1, always take note of the area you are measuring to make sure that any noticeable changes in temperature that you pick up are not due to natural causes, such as one that Ben mentioned earlier, things like air conditioners, heaters, open ventilation ducts, wall cracks, or weather changes. Number 2.
It started snowing. Yeah.
It's a ghost. Number 2, be sure to take baseline temperature readings of the haunt site in order to determine how cold or even warm the site initially is. It can be helpful to compare readings taken from haunt areas where ghostly phenomenon has been reported with readings taken from nearby areas where no phenomena has been reported. So have a control area. Makes more sense within the house rather than going next door, doesn't it? Number 2, it's a pretty simple one this, to improve accuracy in temperature readings during the investigation, you might want to invest in a good digital thermometer. We missed the trick here. We could have had a bit of a product placement, couldn't we? Like available at blah blah blah. No, we're not.
Yeah, I mean,
the promo code Quantum Mechanics.
But that's what those guys with the laser thermometers are doing.
Yeah.
And I have seen, to be fair to everybody, I have seen those give decent results. Now, again, I am not qualified to do anything more than go, oh, that's interesting. But I have seen people use them and I have seen interesting things happen.
Well, the fourth tip, we're going to bring in this underground thing. I don't know how you buy equipment for this, but the report said, consider taking magnetic field readings alongside temperature readings, see if any changes in temperature are accompanied by changes in magnetic field strength, as would be predicted by the Peltler effect.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Where do you get magnetic field reading equipment that can work underneath the house? That sounds quite specialist to me.
Screw fix.
Yeah,
probably.
Screw fix. Yeah, get one of those at Screw Fix. Well, they are the top tips for how to measure temperature changes when you're on a haunted location. So if anyone takes our advice or has recorded those temperature drops, we'd love to hear about it, wouldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And because these are things that happened in a lab, I think people's first-hand experiences can offer a different side to this, and no doubt they do. I mean, I've been in places where, it's supposedly been haunted, and I have agreed that I've walked into a room and that has felt very strangely cold, but nothing really happened to me. But you just go, oh, that is cold and does feel a bit spooky.
Yeah.
And that's why I sort of think, oh, maybe it's psychology, maybe it's infrasound, maybe it's all those other things we learned about, or whether it really is a haunted place. I mean, like we said, it has become a trope. We spoke about it being used in The Sixth Sense, but it's true in almost every depiction of a haunted house that it is cold to walk inside.
Yeah.
But I just wonder whether that isn't just playing off how our psyche sees these things. You don't often sit in front of a blazing fire and then a ghost appears. For what reason, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. There's definitely... I think what I've got out of this, I kind of assumed there was this psychological connection, could be one explanation. I think this Peltier effect, this underground electro, and if that can be created naturally, I wonder if there are, a bit like when we've explored infrasound, I wonder if those electric and magnetic fields can be also artificially created, not deliberately, but within a location it's got a lot of equipment and stuff like that. Made me think a little bit of the bakery, the haunted bakery, because there's so much equipment in there. Could it? And we were kind of going, oh, could this be, infrasound because of the shape of the building? But then, if you take this Peltier effect, I don't know enough about it, but if it's about electric fields and magnetic fields, there's a lot of equipment in there that could create that.
Yeah, there is. I mean, but that's, interestingly, we discovered after we'd done that investigation and visit to the bakery, they had an unexpected flood, which is very poltergeisty.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. And of course we had that weird thing when I recorded that interview. That we had the start and the end, but no middle bit. But
what I was going to say was, I wonder whether there's a manipulation there. Poltergeists, they're known for being able to, for some reason, bring water in.
Yeah.
And they manifest, marbles and coins and that sort of thing. I wonder whether this is another manipulation of our environment just by a poltergeist type being, because we're not really sure what it is, but that would also make a lot of sense to me. And so perhaps it isn't ubiquitous with all spirits,
Yeah.
it's just this particular variety.
I like that idea because you normally think this activity, when it comes from a poltergeist or a spirit, would be, oh, it's paranormal. But you're kind of saying they know how to manipulate
Yeah.
the science of it or the physics of it in a way.
Yes.
That's really interesting.
Yes. And it could be a way of obtaining our attention.
Yeah.
Just like I'm pretty sure that manifesting a voice onto a tape machine is obviously a way of getting attention.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a manipulation type of device.
Yeah, or, if you think of it in a trans-dimensional point of view, that actually the act of coming over creates the electric field, the magnetic field it's a byproduct, that the temperature change. That'd be interesting theory as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, look, come and join us on Ben and Peter's X groups. I'm going to look at an interesting article I found in the Skeptical Inquiry about the Stanley Hotel, which touches on some of the themes we've discussed today. Not all of them, but there's some additional stuff there. But it's another one. When you're researching, I just found this really good article on it, and I thought, that'd be good for Ben and Peter's Extra Scoop. So, yeah, come and join us there. As Ben said at the start, you get our episodes a week early. You get that exclusive episode, Ben and Peter's Extra Scoop, access to the Discord server, and the lovely community. Come and join Per and all the others lovely Patreons that we've got.
Patreon.com/TQM pod.
Yeah, or click in the show notes.
Exactly. Oh, our T-shirts are in there as well. You can go and buy a T-shirt if you want.
Yeah.
As the warm weather emerges, you might look for something stylish to wear on the beach, the boardwalk, or even the classroom.
I got this is not in our merchandise, but my partner bought me some good socks for Christmas that kind of go with our thing.
Oh, I can't see them. Hang on.
And they got they got the Mystery Machine on.
Oh yes, I see.
Not our
yes.
Mystery Machine version, but so
Our copyright-free version.
yeah, I've got branded socks, which you can't.
I've got my dog's face on my socks. Anyway, should we not talk about socks? And we'll say goodbye.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm doing next week because I'm halfway through two different things. One of them's going to win, and one of them will go into the cupboard of broken dreams.
Yeah. That's the way
Find out next week which one goes where.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Also, tell a friend about us and get somebody else to listen to the podcast. That would really help us as well. So we'll see you next time.
Take care. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Are you the quantum mechanics?